Good day, everyone. Welcome back to JBSWiki. Today, I'm excited to show you something I've been building. It's called NSE Results Screener, a free AI-powered platform that gives you Indian quarterly earnings intelligence before anyone else gets to it. So what does it actually do? And how is it built? Let's break it down. At its core, this is a full stack web app that automatically scraps NSE quarterly earnings filings the moment they are published, runs them through an LLM for deep analysis and scoring, and then serves it all up on a live interactive dashboard. Specifically, it pulls quarterly research filing, PDFs, financials, the works straight from the public NSE website, scores and analyzes every single result using an LLM, Azure OpenAI, and Foundry, turning raw filings into actual earnings intelligence, powers a React dashboard with leaderboards, filters, watch lists, alerts, and upcoming results, plus a JSON API, all served from a single Node.js process. Delivers live updates via server, send events, runs scheduled scans with Node cron, and sends email notifications through Node Mailer. So the moment a company drops its results, you're not waiting around, you're getting scored, AI analyzed intelligence in near real time. Now let's talk about how this is actually built under the hood. Backend, we use Node.js 20, Frontend, React plus Vite, living in the earnings intelligence folder. Database, Azure SQL Serverless. Azure SQL Managed Instance also works if you prefer that route. AI layer, we will use the Azure OpenAI or Foundry via the OpenAI SDK, and it's fully keyless, authenticated through managed identity. And as far as the telemetry is concerned, we will use application insight and log analytics for full observability. And as far as deployment is concerned, everything is documented in architecture.md for Azure deployment. This isn't a toy project. It's built on a proper secure baseline topology, fully defined as infrastructure as code using Bicep in the infra/folder. Breaking down the individual resources, App Gateway WAF v2 is the only public entry point sitting in front of a private VNet integrated app services. Azure SQL Serverless hosts the database, which is JBDB, locked down with Entra-only authentication. Managed ID handles all access across the board, zero secrets, zero keys, and it comes with full monitoring, metrics, alerts, and action groups, everything baked in. If you would like access to the GitHub repository where you have all the things I just discussed, just drop me an email at jvivek2k1@yahoo.com and I will get you sorted. Let's get started. First thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to clone this particular GitHub thing. Yeah. So now what I'm going to do is I have a directory called AI inside the C drive. So I'm just going to run this. So basically what happens is it will basically clone whatever code and everything is there on the GitHub repository, and then it goes to the C drive AI folder. Yeah. Now if I do a dir, you can see that we have this NSE underscore results underscore screener underscore v2. Yeah. So let me go inside that. And then again, if you look at it, you have several things here. I'll be interested on this JB deployment environment. Once you have access to this, what you can do is you can download the repository and then you can have a look. But just for the deployment right now, what I'll do is I will get into this JB deployment environment. Yeah. And once inside that, we have a script called deploy JB environment.ps1. So what happens is this PowerShell script will basically build everything. No need for you to do anything. It's just you need to have access to an Azure subscription. You can use an AZ login and then log in using the PowerShell. And after that, what you can do is like you can run this PowerShell script, which basically reaches out to the Bicep and then get the required details and then configure everything for you. Yeah. So now if you see here, I'm logged into this particular subscription using this particular login. Yeah. Now what I'll do is like I will basically select the required subscription. In my case, it's going to be number 2 here. Yeah. Let me uh, put that and then press enter. Okay. So now if you see here, I've selected the required subscription. So it is verifying my permission. So since you're gonna create the required resources, you need to have appropriate permission. In my case, I have owner permission, so I don't have any issues creating the required resources. Okay, the resource group name, you can provide whatever resource group name you need. I will name it as RG underscore NSE underscore results underscore. I'll put today's date, which is 3 July 2026, and then I will end it with another RG. Naming convention, make sure like you follow yours. This is a lab machine for me, so I'll go ahead and do that. Now I will enter my region, which is going to be West US2. Yeah. So let's wait for it to take that up. Now it is basically checking the Azure OpenAI quota here. Yeah. This is going to use the GPT-4o. So it is basically checking for that quota. Yeah. So now in my case, everything looks good. But in case if you don't have the required quota, then you need to provide a different region. Yeah. So in my case, the resource group is created. Now it is installing the node dependencies. Let's wait for the other questions. Like it will ask us whether we need to enable email for this particular solution, and also like if we require an virtual machine, because we will be enabling private endpoint for the Azure SQL, and also like I will be disabling the public access. So in that case, you'll not be able to directly reach out to the SQL server using your SSMS from your laptop. So it might ask, but what I'll do is like for me, I will basically enable the endpoint. I will use a service endpoint, and then I will add my local IP address there. Yeah. So for the enable email on-prem notification, if you press yes, what happens is like you need to provide the required details, like which one you want to use, like Yahoo, Gmail, Outlook, or if you have something custom. Yeah. In my case, I'm going to use Yahoo. Yep. Now I will be providing the required email address. Yeah. So this is the email address I'm gonna use, and from address would also be the same one for me. And then notification email is also going to be same for me. Yeah. But in your case, whatever is appropriate, you can provide that. Make sure the email, everything is correct. Now it's gonna ask you the app password. Okay, now it is basically telling minimum minutes between emails. I will give it as 10. Now it is basically asking for the app password. Okay. Now let's head to the Yahoo account info, and there you have the security here. Okay. And then when you scroll down further, you have the options for the app password. Okay. So what you can do is like you need to click on this create app password, and then you need to create one. Once you enable that, what happens is like when you create this app password, you'll basically get a password like a 16-digit password. So you need to copy that. Okay, I've already done that. I'm not going to do that again. So let's go back to our PowerShell. Yeah. And then what we'll do is like we will provide the required app password. Okay. So now let's press enter, and then it moves on. Now it is asking me whether you need to create a VM with SSMS version 22 installed. If you want, you can go ahead and do that. In my case, I'm not going to do that. So I've pressed N here. So now if you see here, the provisioning has actually started. So it's basically going to take some time. Yeah. So maybe like close to like 30 to 40 minutes because it needs to create a lot of resources on your RG. So give it some time. And once it completes, I will resume this video back and then we'll take it from there. So if you can see here, we have these resources deployed: the log analytics workspace, virtual network, application insights, Azure AI service model deployment, Foundry, Azure SQL Server, app services plan, app service, and then the keyword. Yeah. So now it is getting deployed to the web service. Yeah. So let's wait for it and then we'll take it from there. Okay, so the deployment is completed now, if you can see here. Yeah. So now what we need to do is like, we just need to look at this public URL here. Yeah. So let's copy that. And then what I'll do is like, I will run that once. Now, when I run it, I'm able to see this particular application that is coming up here. Okay. Now, this is the application, yeah. Yep. So what it basically does is like this particular application will basically check the NSE website and then see if there are any latest quarterly results that is released. Okay. And what happens is like it's not going to check every now and then. It's going to have a sequence timing like the frequency is every 10 minutes. So every 10 minutes, it's gonna check. So right now, if you see here, we are able to see like we have this particular company which has got its result that will be published around 13 July. So now what is gonna happen is like every 10 minutes, it will basically be checking for any company's quarterly result. And in case if there is a quarterly result, then what it does is like it basically brings the PDF file which basically contains the quarterly result, and then that particular PDF will be sent across to the AI service, and then you will basically get a rating like it gives you from 0 to 10, where 10 is the best. Okay, so now this is the one. As soon as let's say like in case you have a result for a company today, what happens is like that particular company's result will be sent across to the AI, and then since we have this last one day here, you will be able to get that company here, and then it basically gives you the details like what is the company name, and it basically tells you like how was the result, and that you can see as far as the score is concerned. Okay, so now with that detail, trader will be able to take a decision like this particular demo is not about finance. It is basically like how you can create applications using AI that's gonna help you as far as finance is concerned. Okay, so that is how this particular application is gonna work. So next, I will show you the resources on the resource group that was created as part of our deployment. Now, if you want, you can click on scan now, and then what happens is like a scan will happen, and then the last refresh will change, and whatever last refresh you have in next 10 minutes, the next scan will happen. Okay, so it all depends like whether you have any results that has been published for that particular company. Let's go to the Azure portal here. Let me get into the resource group, and then let's click on the one that we have created. Yeah, so this is the one. So now if you see here, so these are the resources that were created as part of the deployment that we have done using this. Okay, so now if you see here at the high level, you're able to see like you have an action group, and then an application gateway, and then you have this log search alert rule. So let me order this using the type. So now you see this, we have like two action group. You have an app service, an app service plan, application gateway with the BAF policy, and much more. Like you have a key vault, you have the log search alert rules, and then you have the network security group, public IP address, and you have the SQL server and then the SQL database. So these are the resource, everything that was created. So if you see, yeah, I did not create any of these things using the GUI. Yeah, it was all using the Bicep template. It was an infrastructure as code. So if you can follow the same approach, you're just gonna spend like 30 minutes and you will be able to deploy this particular application within 30 minutes. Okay, now that we have created a real world application, what we'll do next in this series is like we will deploy a SRE agent, and then we will provide all the required details, and then we will make sure like we are seeing some issues on the front end, and then we will try to troubleshoot these issues, like understand what is going on and also like fix those issues using the SRE agent. And that will clearly tell you guys like how SRE agent can help you as far as the day-to-day activities are concerned. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Jai Hind.